All right, welcome to this explainer. We are jumping right into our countdown of 10 literally mind-blowing facts about a completely fascinating, newly discovered prehistoric giant. If you're someone who loves unraveling the mysteries of ancient apex predators, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving deep into the biology, the incredibly grueling excavation, and the weird evolutionary quirks of this phenomenal beast. We're talking about a creature that completely ruled Patagonia around 90 to 95 million years ago, back in the Late Cretaceous period. So, let's set up the bizarre biological paradox that defines our prehistoric subject today. Picture this. We're looking at a top-tier predator, an absolute titan of its ecosystem, yet it walked around with arms so incredibly tiny they almost seem like some sort of anatomical joke. I mean, how does an animal like that survive, let alone completely dominate its environment? That's the central mystery we're going to solve as we walk through this countdown. Let's kick things off with fact number 1, its incredible name. The genus name, Meraxes, actually honors a massive dragon ridden by Queen Rhaenys Targaryen in the Song of Ice and Fire series. You know, the books that Game of Thrones is based on. And the specific name, Gigas, well, that simply means giant in Greek. Honestly, for a dinosaur this imposing, naming it after a fictional dragon is absolutely spot on. Though, unlike a dragon, this beast definitely didn't need to fly to be terrifying. Moving right along to fact number 2, it belongs to this really enigmatic family of apex predators known as the Carcharodontosauridae. Try saying that 3 times fast. But what's really interesting here is the family tree. This group includes some of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs ever discovered, like the legendary Giganotosaurus. Meraxes lived in the Huincal Formation down in Argentine Patagonia, and it actually shared its environment with massive, long-necked sauropods called titanosaurs. Just imagine this dragon-named theropod actively stalking herds of literally the largest land animals to ever walk the earth. Which brings us to fact number 3, the actual discovery. Uncovering this beast was no walk in the park. It took 4 grueling field seasons in Patagonia, but wow, was it worth it. Discovered back in 2012 in New Cane province, the fossil was found encased in mudstone that had been buried by sandstone. That specific geology tells us a really cool story. It suggests the animal died alongside a quiet stream or lake and was then suddenly buried by a high-energy flash flood. That rapid burial is exactly what preserved it so perfectly for millions of years. And speaking of that preservation, scientific teams have literally called this, by far, the best preserved skeleton of a Carcharodontosaurid found to date. This is a massive deal for paleontology. You see, most dinosaurs in this family are only known from super fragmentary remains, just bits and pieces. But with Meraxes, researchers uncovered a nearly complete skull, the hips, both the left and right arms, the legs, and a fully developed pectoral girdle. It gives us the most complete look at these predators in the southern hemisphere, finally handing scientists the puzzle pieces they've been missing for decades. Okay, so exactly how giant was Gigas? Let's hit fact number 4. This terrifying animal weighed an estimated 9,000 pounds. Yeah, that is over 4 metric tons of pure muscle, bone, and teeth. Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about a predator that weighed as much as 2 large rhinoceroses combined, just stomping across the Cretaceous landscape. And keeping with the crazy scale of this thing, it stretched a staggering 36 feet long from its snout all the way to the tip of its tail. Now, it wasn't the absolute largest of its family. That crown probably still belongs to its cousin Giganotosaurus. But at 36 feet long, it was undeniably an absolute apex predator. Now for fact number 5, and this is where things get truly awe-inspiring. Its massive, undistorted skull measures 1.27 meters. That's roughly 4 feet 2 inches long. It rivals, and actually slightly beats out, the skull length of the fearsome Acrocanthosaurus from North America. And because the skull of Merax was found so perfectly complete and intact, it's actually helping scientists better estimate the sizes of other, more fragmented dinosaurs. It completely proves that these Carcharodontosaurids had some of the largest heads of any terrestrial predators, ever. Fact number 6, these predators were incredibly gargoyle-like. The skull wasn't just huge, it was heavily decorated. As Merax grew into an adult, it developed these intense facial ornamentations. We're talking crests, deep furrows, bumps, and little hornlets all over its snout and face. Because these features only really popped up late in development when the animal reached maturity, scientists are pretty confident they were used for sexual selection, basically trying to attract a mate. Imagine a 4-ton predator flashing a beautifully grotesque bumpy face to win over a partner. Nature's wild, right? Which leads us straight into fact number 7, and our main mystery. Why on earth did such a massive apex predator have such tiny, seemingly useless arms? Like I said earlier, its arms were so short it couldn't even reach its own mouth. For the longest time, whenever people thought of tiny dinosaur arms, they just thought of T-Rex. But Meraxes proves this weird anatomical trait was actually a recurring theme in nature. Why would evolution favor such puny forelimbs on such a formidable killer? Well, this brings up the brilliant concept of convergent evolution. Short arms didn't just happen once. They evolved completely independently across at least 4 entirely different dinosaur lineages. The Carcharodontosauridae, Abelisauridae, Tyrannosauridae, and Alvarezsauridae all shrank their arms over time. This wasn't some shared family trait they just got from a common grandpa. This was nature literally finding the exact same solution to a biological problem 4 separate times. Fact number 8 finally explains the why behind all that convergent evolution. As the skull evolved to become giant because, let's face it, the head was doing all the heavy lifting for hunting and killing, the forelimbs shrank. So here's the crucial takeaway. A massive head required a massive neck and huge shoulder blades to support it. Those large shoulder blades meant lots of heavy muscles attached there. And because muscles need 2 ends to anchor to, the other end had to attach to the arm bone. So the arm shrank as much as biomechanically possible to save weight, but they had to stop at a minimum size just to anchor the massive muscles needed to hold up that gigantic head. So just how small did they get? The arm-to-femur ratio was a mere 0.4. But hey, do not mistake small for useless. Strong muscle insertions on those bones prove these tiny arms were actually incredibly muscular and highly active. Researchers think they might have used these robust little arms during mating, or perhaps, and this makes a lot of sense, as specialized shock absorbers and levers to help push their immense 4-ton bodies back up off the ground after taking a fall or waking up from a nap. Let's move to fact number 9, which looks at how these giant predators actually grew. Tyrannosaurus rex got huge by going through this massive, super accelerated teenage growth spurt. But Meraxes, it utilized something called hypermorphosis. That basically means it reached its giant size by extending its growth period over many, many decades. It didn't rush, it just kept slowly and steadily growing larger over a much longer stretch of time. Now, you might be wondering, how do we actually know that? Well, paleontologists performed what's called an osteohistological analysis. Actually, to put it simply, they sliced into the fossilized limb bones and looked at them under a microscope, counting the growth rings exactly like you would count the rings on a tree stump. This technique allowed researchers to pinpoint the exact moment the specific individual reached skeletal maturity, which turned out to be about 4 years before it died. Which brings us to our final, mind-blowing fact number 10. Based on counting those bone rings, scientists determined the unbelievable upper age limit of this specific dinosaur when it finally died by that quiet stream, 53. This individual was between 39 and 53 years old when it perished. And that makes Meraxes the absolute oldest known non-avian theropod we have ever aged. It lived nearly twice as long as the typical Tyrannosaurus, which generally tapped out at around 30 years old. Surviving to over 50 years old in the brutally competitive Late Cretaceous ecosystem, surrounded by other massive predators and giant crushing sauropods, that is a serious testament to just how dominant and successful Meraxes Gigas truly was. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. We've seen how Meraxes Gigas completely reshapes our understanding of dinosaur growth, convergent evolution, and apex predator biology. But I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. If a 53-year-old, 4-ton behemoth named after a fictional dragon can lay completely hidden from us until 2012, what other unimaginable prehistoric titans are out there right now, just buried deep beneath the sands of Patagonia, waiting to rewrite history all over again? Keep wondering, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.